would get my case via email from our Commander-in-Chief, Richard, and I would contact DCS, find out a little information that maybe not have been on the referral paperwork. Then I would contact the family. Seems easy, but sometimes we would try to contact the family and it wouldn't, and the numbers we had wouldn't get to them or whatever the case may be. So we would do stop-bys, and I would, the first time that I saw a family sometimes was me knocking on their door and introducing myself and letting them know that DCS sent me.
That initial knock on the door, they did look at us, look at me, look at the therapist, as if we were an extension of the Department of Children's Services.
I'm a visitor in your home. I'm not here to investigate. I'm not here to judge anything that you're doing. I'm just here to figure out what are the needs that you have and how can I, as someone in the third party coming from a grant program, help you?
Within that first 2 weeks of going in with families, we looked at what are the basic level needs. It's hard to think about recovery when I'm worried about my lights are going to get turned off next week. It's hard to think about recovery when I don't have any groceries, I don't have formula, I don't have diapers.
I want to know what your basic needs are, what the most important things are now. Depending on what the family's needs were would depend on what route we took the rest of the intervention.
A lot of the families that I worked with had a history of trauma. The parents that we're working with in these families were once kids that didn't learn it from their own parents, and it's a generational thing. Maybe they had been in different kinds of psychiatric facilities or drug and rehabilitative facilities, and for whatever reason, it wasn't working at this current moment while DCS was shining a light on their family.
There was always the underlying child safety stuff that we had to be very mindful of, very aware of. You had parents who were either still using substances and attempting to end that, or had just had 5 seconds of clean recovery time. So child safety was always a huge piece of that. As the therapist coming into the home, you always have to be planning for discharge. And you always have to be looking for any kind of external supports that you can give a family that's going to be helpful. 6 to 8 weeks sounds like a long time, but when there's so many needs, it goes very, very quickly. Every family had very different needs, so we had to very quickly connect with the communities that we were in to make contacts to know if we don't know a resource, who can we call that might?
So we were able to address those basic level needs first, which helped build trust with the therapist, with the family.
And then moving over to the higher order thinking goals, like how do I raise a child? How do I maintain a household? How do I maintain stress? A lot of these families, never were given the opportunity to learn coping skills when things got tough, and we're coming in at a time of crisis, so things are at their toughest.